Contacts with unknown phenomena, objects, and beings have been recorded in cave paintings, texts, and documents throughout history and are even part of the mythology of some cultures, such as indigenous tribes. There are cases like that of a person who even reported greeting and talking to a being that was supposedly an extraterrestrial being. According to the Brazilian ufologist Edison Boaventura, although the cave paintings found around the world are mostly representations of daily life, some could signify an attempt to represent some unusual sighting, as suggested by some engravings found in Utah in the United States that could suggest possible UFO occupants. It is estimated that the age of these figures is around 8,000 years ago. It is very interesting to note that on the African continent, a painting approximately the same age, around 8,000 years old, is also very suggestive, recalling some being that may have been a UFO occupant. In India, there are also very interesting rock paintings, including one that strongly resembles the typology of gray beings, which many ufologists classify as alpha typology. In Australia, some rock paintings curiously also resemble alpha typology. Another figure on the African continent also dates back to around 8,000 years ago. In Brazil, ufologist Edison Boaventura personally observed some of the rock paintings that suggest they could be representations of alien beings or astronauts. In an indigenous tribe in Brazil, there is a legend of Bep Kororoti, a being that they believed to be a god, but they discovered it was a human being when they saw him without his clothes. They represent Bep Kororoti with leaves and straw in a ritual, a garment that would represent this being and strongly resembles an astronaut suit. Bep Kororoti would be classified by ufologists as beta typology, beings indistinguishable from humans. Different researchers of UFO phenomena each have their own classification of types of contacts or sightings of these phenomena. These different classifications can have at least 3 categories or degrees, possibly reaching up to 7. The American researcher and ufologist Joseph Allen Hynek had the following classification. First degree, sighting of a distant object or light more than 150 meters away. These cases are also the most common. Many of the photos could be attributed to this first-degree category of sighting. The ufologist Edison Boaventura himself took a photograph with his cell phone while on his lunch break at his job as a manager at Banco do Brasil. The second degree is when the unidentified object approaches to within 150 meters and eventually leaves some physical evidence such as landing marks, changes in the radiation level at the site, or when it physically affects a person with some physiological symptom or even permanent physical damage. There was a case in South America that resulted in the death of a man who was under an object while observing it. The third degree is when the occupant of an object is seen inside or near it. This category may be considered by some ufologists even when a supposed occupant is sighted without a craft nearby, but in the region of the event, objects or lights have also been sighted, as researcher Carlos Machado reports in his investigation, and as is the case in Varginha, which occurred in Brazil in 1996. In addition to these 3-degree categories proposed by Joseph Allen Hynek, it is common for ufologists to use a 4th category in which the alleged crew member communicates with the witness, as was the case of the Japanese man who claimed to have spoken with a crew member of a disc that landed in a park. These 4 categories are the most common, and the others vary greatly according to the different protocols among different ufologists. Regarding the case of the 4th-degree contact in 1960 in Okama, Japan, in which a Japanese man allegedly saw, greeted, and spoke with a beta-type extraterrestrial being about 1 meter and 80 centimeters tall. The man had seen lights one day. On another day, he followed a light. When the object landed in a park, he saw the being exiting the flying saucer and approached. The two shook hands and began to talk. Intrigued, the man asked the extraterrestrial how he learned Japanese, and the being replied that they have the means to learn any language easily. When the man asked where he came from, the extraterrestrial replied that his star system is unknown to humans on Earth. But the most impressive case was a recent statement by the Brazilian Lieutenant Colonel Eisenhower Gerk Austriaco at a ceremony to pass rank to another military officer days before his retirement from the military police of the state of Minas Gerais. At one point in his speech, he states, "I kept this to myself for almost 20 years, but it's a fact, and fortunately or unfortunately, we are not the only intelligent species to walk on the earthly soil, because we witnessed and were face-to-face with unknown visitors of the human species in the urban and rural areas of the municipality of Claudio. Nobody told us, but yes, we saw them." This testimony from a respected military officer increases the credibility of the conjecture or idea that our planet is being visited by aliens. If you enjoy topics related to space, the possibility of intelligent alien life, and the future of humanity, Avi Loeb is the author of the book Interstellar, The Search for Extraterrestrial Life and Our Future in the Stars. If you are interested, the link to the Audible audiobook is in the description. Where do these aliens come from? What do they want? Are they a threat? What do you think about all this? Leave your comment. Thank you very much for watching.